Conflicts occur between any two individuals, whether it's people, monkeys, or dogs, when the interests of the two are not the same. If two dogs want the same bone all to themselves, a conflict occurs. Or, when two dogs both want attention from a person at the same time, we have a conflict. Some conflicts between dogs are inevitable and normal. Most of the time, these conflicts will be minor and will be quickly settled by the social mechanisms dogs use to minimize conflicts without hurting one another or fighting. But sometimes things go wrong, and conflicts escalate into intense threatening by one or both dogs, or actual fighting. The behaviors animals use to respond to conflicts are known as agonistic behaviors. The four agonistic behaviors we'll discuss are avoidance, appeasement or submission, threats, and aggression. The simplest choice a dog can make when faced with a conflict is to simply leave the situation. That usually ends the conflict. However, when a dog can't leave the conflict, or believes he can't leave, he has to make other choices. Leashes, fences, and cages all limit a dog's ability to leave a conflict, and also limit the choices he can make. Not being able to choose to leave makes it more likely the conflict will intensify. A second choice a dog has in a conflict situation is to show submissive or appeasement behaviors. These behaviors signal to the opponent that the dog does not want to continue the conflict and is no threat to the other dog. Submissive behaviors are also known as cut-off signals because they tend to stop or cut off threats and aggression from the dog's opponent. A third choice a dog can make in a conflict situation is to threaten the other dog. Threats are signals that warn the other animal that if things continue the way they are, the threatening dog may attack. Threats may end conflicts by causing the other dog to leave the situation or to show a submissive display. Threats can also lead to an escalation of the conflict by causing the other to threaten back or to attack. Threats include prolonged direct stares, growling, barking, lunging, and even snapping without making direct contact. The final choice a dog can make in a conflict situation is to become aggressive or actually bite or attack the other dog. Aggression is intended to do harm to the opponent. Both threats and aggression can be offensive, defensive, or a mixture of both.
What determines what a dog does? Experiences early in life, during the sensitive period for socialization, can also influence how a dog responds to other dogs. If the dog was not well socialized to other dogs, he may be more fearful of other dogs or not know how to respond appropriately when there is a conflict. Experiences later in life can influence a dog's behavior toward other dogs as well. A dog's experiences with other dogs, both good and bad, will interact with his genetic predispositions to influence his behavior. The behavior of the second dog in the conflict is also important in determining how the conflict evolves. If one dog threatens or attacks, this may or may not intensify the conflict, depending on the behavioral tendencies of the dog's opponent. Increased threats or aggression from one dog may cause some dogs to submit or run away, but may cause other dogs to fight even more intensely. In addition to the characteristics of each dog, the third factor to consider is the situation itself. This includes all elements of the surroundings, including where the animals are, who they are near, as well as what they are in conflict about. Some dogs may be more confident or even territorial near their homes. They may be threatening and aggressive to other dogs that come near them at home, but not threatening when away from home.
To further understand why dogs get into conflict, it's important to understand the social structure of dogs. Normally, the social structure of dogs allows them to allocate resources like bones or attention from people and settle disputes with little harm or distress between them. They use ritualized, harmless behaviors to minimize and settle conflicts and make up with each other after conflicts. This is typical of animals that live in complex societies. Social behaviors also allow dogs to establish and maintain relationships with each other, even when there are conflicts. It also allows them to cooperate with each other to find food, fend off enemies, and raise their young. Dogs do this using social communication signals that include body postures, and vocalizations. For example, consider how dogs normally greet each other. The greeting is very ritualized, with the dogs greeting each other about the same way every time. They'll approach each other, sniff noses, and then circle around and sniff the flanks and anogenital areas of the other. What happens then can vary. The dogs may play or walk away or do more sniffing or even threaten each other. Through these ritualized greetings, each dog gives signals to the other about the intentions and their motivations. And based on this, each dog decides what to do next. When these signals are clearly given and the motivation of the dogs is compatible, then conflicts are minimized and the dogs will get along. For example, if one dog clearly gives a play bow, which is an invitation to play, and the other dog understands the signal and is also interested in playing, then the dogs will play. If the play signal isn't clearly given, or if the other dog doesn't recognize it as a play signal, or if the other dog doesn't want to play, then a conflict could occur. Sometimes things go wrong with the signaling system, and serious conflicts develop. What can go wrong with signaling systems? Anytime there's a communication between two animals, there's a chance for misunderstanding. Each dog can misinterpret the behavior of the other. One dog's rough play behavior could be misunderstood as threatening and result in a fight. Conflicts and fights sometimes arise because of such misunderstandings, especially among poorly socialized dogs that may not be skilled at communicating with other dogs. Sometimes it seems that conflicts happen because one or both of the dogs aren't good at signaling their intentions to each other. Some breeds of dogs may have been selected not to give clear signals of their intentions, such as the fighting or protection dogs like Akitas or Chow Chows. The physical characteristics of some dogs may make it hard for them to give good signals. Dogs with cropped ears or without tails can't signal as well as those who do have those body parts. Dogs like bulldogs with very flat faces can also have trouble signaling their intentions to others. At the other end of the communication spectrum is the dog that isn't good at interpreting the signals of other dogs. We know that dogs that aren't well socialized as puppies seem to have difficulty understanding the signals of other dogs. It may also be that the dog just doesn't respond appropriately to the signals of the other dogs. In such a case, one dog gives a submissive signal, but the other dog continues to threaten or attack. For most dogs, the submissive signal will turn off the threats or attacks of others. We don't know why certain dogs don't react appropriately, but inappropriate or abnormal reactions can significantly intensify conflicts. Sometimes conflicts escalate because neither dog wants to give in or to share. Suppose one dog has a bone and another dog wants it. Things are usually settled when the dog possessing the bone gives it up, or the other dog moves away, or shows a submissive display when threatened by the dog holding the bone. If the dog holding the bone won't give it up, and the other dog persists in his attempts to get the bone, the situation can quickly escalate into fighting.